Hey, welcome to another episode of Ask a Brother podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James, and I am so excited. I've been wanting to get this guest on my podcast for about a year and a half. I finally clawed her and convinced her to come on, and I hope that you all take advantage of this while we have her. Feel free, if you're starting to watch, if you see this, make sure you share it, make sure you like the video content, including this video. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please make sure you subscribe to this channel for sure. So, real quick, y'all. Number one, shout out to all of the 27,266 subscribers that we have. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for supporting the channel, supporting this brand where I'm just bringing interesting, different perspectives to the table. It's not that we always have to agree on everything, but I think that different ideas, different thoughts, they matter. And I think this is just an awesome place where we can kind of bring things that I think could be helpful, could be meaningful, whether it's political, whether it's relational, whether it's psychological. I don't know. I just think I love having conversations, and I love you all joining this journey with me as I just find the most interesting people that I've come across online and in person and just kind of introduce them to my new audience. So again, 27,266,000 subscribers. Shout out to y'all. If you are not a member of this channel and you want to support, one way that you can do that is just by becoming a member. We have two different tiered systems, and best believe just by being a member, you're already supporting the cause. So if you are in the chat, feel free to donate. That's one way that you can also support. I really don't ask for members to donate anything because they're already financially supporting the channel. But if you're not a member, but you love the content that you've seen so far, or if you're enjoying the stuff that we're doing tonight, feel free to kind of donate $2 or $3, whatever you think you can afford that doesn't break the bank. I would greatly appreciate it, y'all. Number two, men's groups. We just had our second men's group yesterday, actually, and it was great. I think we doubled the amount of guys that we had from last week to this week. So before that group gets filled up, I highly, highly, highly recommend you click on the link in this chat at the top. It's pinned. It's also in our by channel bio section as well. Click the men's link. Click the link for the men's group. Check it out. It's covers for the month. It's every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be covering a whole host of things. And right now, we're actually locked in and focused on masculinity. And we are about to start working through in that men's group on the Jordan Peterson 12 Rules of Life, an Antidote to Chaos. We are going to be hitting that book, hitting the ground running starting next week. So best believe we're hitting the ground running with masculinity. We're going to be working through Dr. Jordan Peterson's book and working together to just, build brotherhood, camaraderie, challenge each other, and just really work on personal growth. Last but not least, store merchandise. As y'all see, I'm gonna keep rocking this until everybody that I know has this hat on. We have it for obviously make masculinity great again. We have one for make femininity great again. We have shirts, we have hoodies, and we have mugs as well. Best believe we're going to be coming out with more and more stuff, but feel free to click the store, check out the stuff, purchase what you can, and support the cause. But if you get this stuff in the next week or so, if you order it tonight, make sure that you take a picture or video and upload it and tag our channel so we can start putting a collage together of all the different people who start receiving their products. So we got our samples within a week, so it could be within a week or even less. So feel free to order as soon as you can. Make sure you get the red hat. I think it's my personal favorite. But we have them in different colors, and that's another way that you can support the channel for sure. Last but not least, y'all. So I have two upcoming interviews lined up this very month. Guests, a lot of you have probably heard of both these individuals. I will not spoil it yet, but best believe between now and Monday, I'm going to put out a little bit more information on who the surprise guest is that I'm going to be having interviewing and bringing onto this platform. I think I'm way ahead of the game in terms of being able to get this individual onto our channel. So stay tuned for that and be on the lookout because I'll be posting it and making it known on Instagram and on TikTok as well as this channel as well. So when you see it, make sure you hit that notification bell. And then lastly, thank you to today's sponsor, Dew Sable City Botanical Farm. They are a natural alternative to boosting testosterone and helping male vitality to improve sexual performance. So we're going to check out a video from our sponsor for today's video, and then we're going to jump right into interviewing and introducing our upcoming guests. So y'all stay with me and stay tuned. So shout out again to our sponsor, which is Do Sable City as well. Thank you guys for being our sponsor for this content. Make sure you guys check out their products. And if you want to actually order, we have the links in our description on the channel. And you can use the code Ask a Brother Podcast. Sorry, Ask a Brother 1010, and you'll get 10% off your next purchase. So without further ado, y'all, all the announcements out the way. Now it's time to get to the real stuff of why it is that y'all here. Because y'all ain't here just to see me. A lot of y'all that's going to start to trickle in. It's clear that y'all not here just for me. Y'all clearly here for the person I've been pushing and promoting and making it known. I finally got her here. So for starters, our next guest, many of you may have seen her all over the internet from 2020 to maybe 2024. She's gone viral multiple times, especially if you enjoy this type of content. You've probably seen her on different formats, different platforms, and just her wisdom and her knowledge. I even just doing my research again, many of the videos with her face on it has cleared the millions of views category. So she has, for lack of a better word, I would describe her as a woman that's attempting in a modern world to bring back like tradition and femininity and common sense approaches to fixing modern day issues and problems. So y'all, without further ado, please help me welcome my special guest for today. Her name is Maggie, the substitute teacher. What's going on, y'all? All right. Welcome. How are you feeling?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeff St. James. Hello, everybody in the Ask a Brother podcast community. I'm happy to be here tonight.
All right. So for starters, believe it or not, there were actually people who were kind of commenting. People would just tag me randomly, and I was getting when I kind of went viral myself. I couldn't even keep up with the messages. I would just see these random comments, and then I would go do something, and the comments were like gone. But I had saw your name multiple times. It was like Taylor, who I recently interviewed, and now you. It's amazing to me personally that like I'm thinking about where it's like people who I've watched, who I've been saying, oh, that's a cool idea, or I love what they're doing. Like they're actually coming to my program. So it's like, it's a weird feeling for me. What has it been like for you? Because you've gone viral multiple times.
I go viral on accident. I like to say I have a cooking channel. I'm just a mom on the internet. I don't really see, and I mean this genuinely. I do appreciate the growth, but I really don't see why anything I say is that earth shattering. To me, it's just common sense. It's the way that I was raised. It's the way a lot of us were raised, maybe a generation ago. So I have a cooking channel. Like a lot of people, it's a pandemic hobby that took off, and here we are. So I make food and femininity content. The food is the reason I started, but I think the femininity is the reason why people want me to stick around.
Yeah, I think it's both. My wife will tell you I need to start watching you more in terms of the cooking, but that's another discussion for another day. So my initial thing that actually we're going to jump right into it, especially with like the topics relating to what you said about like relationships. And I think a lot of people are seeing you as a rare voice of wisdom in an area where typically when people go viral, they're usually kind of saying like the craziest advice, right? So speaking like in this age and time where talking and pointing out behaviors in the dating market, like pointing out behaviors in the dating market that may not be like helpful, harmful, or just flat out wrong, especially when you're talking to or about women, how have they how have they received your message? And what age range would you say tended to receive it better versus the age range that probably didn't?
Okay. So for me, it depends on the end goal that they want. So I don't really understand this being a professional dater, dating for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and then figuring out, okay, I really want a relationship now. When you are raised to prioritize marriage and family, when you are raised to be a wife, you date with intention. And I've been in a relationship since I was 18. So um, I don't think the women who don't prioritize marriage and family, I know they don't like what I say, so they don't receive what I say. And I'm fine with that because it's not for them. Not everybody is a wife. So when you talk about dating, I understand the intent behind the question. I think we use the umbrella term dating, but what we really mean, if marriage and family is the ultimate goal, it's about courtship. And I've said before, for me, the purpose of dating is to determine, is this a suitable match for marriage or long term? If not,
Mhm.
what are we doing? So I say we can either accept with grace or we exit with grace. So I like to say, I don't give dating advice. I don't have a lot of dating experience. I've been in 2 relationships. And so for
Mhm.
me, people who like the fun, the thrill of just the excitement of dating, whatever their age is, if they are in their 20s, 30s, even 40s or 50s, if you want to be a professional dater, you are not going to receive my message. So, your second
Mhm.
part about the age range, what I have experienced, I think the younger women, and I'll be 50 next month just for context.
Oh,
So,
congrats. Congrats.
thank you. The younger women that do listen to me, in my experience, will come with questions. I will give them direction or give them advice. They will go act on that advice and then come back and say, okay, Miss Maggie, I tried this or I did this and this was the result. In my experience, and I am not a professional like you,
Mhm.
the older women, because they've been so experienced in doing their thing their way, before they start acting on it, there's a lot of time spent for them defending why their way is really the better way. And I don't understand, well, then why are you asking me? Just go be great.
Mhm. Wow, wow. And what's crazy is the stereotype typically is the reverse, where people are saying that it's the younger crowd that doesn't listen. Though no one wants to, like, they don't, if they're younger, if they're early 20s, like they can't listen, they don't want to hear anybody, they don't want to receive feedback. And what you're saying is like your experience has been, if they're younger and they're actually approaching you, they tend to genuinely want feedback of what it is they need to do different. But when they're older and they kind of connect with you, they're a little bit kind of set in their ways, and it takes a longer time to kind of get them like open to the possibility they've been doing things wrong.
Yes. So the stereotype that you're speaking of, as far as younger people, and we've all been young, we've all been headstrong. I mean, that's what put me on this path. I am a reformed modern woman.
Mm,
But the young women that come to me feel like a fish out of water in this modern culture. Something about them said, I don't really want to be out there. I don't want to date for 10 and 20 years. I want to get married. I want to have a family. I've always wanted that. But the other voices are so loud. It seems like everybody wants to be some type of professional city girl, and that's not everybody, because I have a community of women that are prioritizing marriage and family. So those are the ones that I try to help.
great, great. I appreciate that. So, what are the top three things missing in modern women today that you could imagine is probably affecting their success on the dating market? Well, in the relationship dating slash marriage market,
Thank you.
what's the three things that you think they're kind of potentially missing that could potentially be like a game changer of them being much more successful in this area?
Absolutely. Number one is femininity. I know we beat this dead horse, but a masculine man requires a feminine woman.
Hmm.
It's a non-negotiable. A masculine man does not want to come home to someone who's going to challenge him. So you got to decide if you want to be a support system, or if you want to be out front and let him be the wind beneath your wings. So number one is femininity, because they're polar opposites, just like hot and cold, up and down. Femininity exists because masculinity is present, and we know what that is. We all know what it's like when a masculine man comes in the room, even if it's not your man. Something about you just kind of sits up straight, and you're like, okay, yes, it's natural, it's primal, it's biological, it's how we were designed. So that's number one. Number two for me, you can call it submission. I'll just say agreeable, because some people get caught up in the word submission, but everything doesn't have to be a fight. We don't have to go 12 rounds. You don't have to take 10 trips around the mountain. Sometimes the answer is just no. Sometimes it's a not yet. Sometimes it's a not this, but that. But just working with a man. So many modern women think that you need to compete as a man when you're with a man, and that's hurting their chances. So that's number two. And then number three is big for me. It's a heart of service. I don't see a lot of modern women wanting to earn it. That's the number one thing that I say to my man all the time. When he's like, babe, sit down, you've done enough. I'm like, nope, I want to earn everything. I think that the modern world in general, modern women in specific, I think, we have these wonderful devices and this modern technology, and it has turned from what can I do to make your life better, your life a little easier, even if it's not for your man, but do you care about anybody other than yourself? If you see an older person, a handicapped person, a child, are you even aware that there are other people in the world outside of you? So when you first have that awareness, and then you say, you know what, I can help you with that. I don't mind to take that off your plate. It's so endearing to a man who's trying to carry the world on his shoulders. And so those are the three things for me. I would say number one, femininity, number two, agreeableness, and number three, a heart of service.
Wow. So out of those three things that you listed, I'm realizing now, and you kind of alluded to it, selfishness. Selfishness, being self-centered, being solipsistic, and only looking at things through the lens of what you can get out of it will prevent you from being able to do and live out any of those things you just suggested.
Right.
The femininity, the softness, the agreeableness, and just even the desire to want to serve. That's the antithesis of only looking at a relationship, a potential relationship, through the lens of what I can extract and get out of it.
That is the problem when you only have the dating mindset. It just becomes transactional because you don't plan to be around. He doesn't plan to keep you around. So you're just trying to get as much as you can get out of this transactional relationship. That's why I said the premise from the very beginning, what is it that you want? Okay, if you just want to date, go have fun, but don't complain when he's ready to be serious and he finds somebody else. That's not what you chose. But if you are choosing a real relationship, what I tell my students is that you get what you want by making sure you're taking care of others. It's natural in a man. It's natural in all of us. If I have an assistant that knows my schedule and makes sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, it would be foolish of me to not make sure he or she had everything that she needed to be productive. Relationships are the same way. When you have a masculine man, when you have a leader, he's going to make sure that he moves those big boulders out of the way so that you can continue to produce in a way that's a support system, if you want something traditional.
That's good stuff. And it's when I'm realizing is like a lot of times I think when I'm noticing both in my practice and just observation like you have on social media and stuff, a lot of these ladies that are screaming and demanding traditional men, they're treating it like a la carte, like a buffet, where I want this part and I want this piece and I want this or that. And they forgot that there's a whole nother half of the equation of tradition, that the things that you're literally listing, that's the thing that's considered attractive to the men that they're claiming to want. And they're rejecting those things because the culture and feminism kind of tells them to kind of don't offer those things, don't serve a man. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're telling them the exact opposite of what it is that they would need to do and be in order to get the actual outcome. And what's shocking to me is they don't get the outcomes they want, and they're doing what the culture is saying. And then when you say the exact opposite, or when I or other people say the exact opposite, like, well, just do the exact opposite of what the culture is saying. And they put up this fight, and I'm like, but you don't even have what it is that you want. Like,
Oh, you're
it'd be one thing if you had it and you're trying to tell people like, nah, you don't need to do all that. Like it worked for me, but a lot of times, more often than not, it's not working. They're not getting in relationships, or they're getting with men that allows them to do what they want that they really don't respect.
right, because those men have no intention for them. So of course,
Mm,
if I have, some, I hate to say it this way, but if I were, being forced to, chaperone a party, we've all done that. Not my
yeah.
kid, but if it's my kid, I got eyes over, hey, you're not doing that because I care. I think about your long-term benefit. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the modern culture and everything, it's not just women, but in general, we are a very selfish society. And I don't know if it's age, once you get to this point in life, I'll be half 100, you really start thinking about leaving the world. For me, I think about leaving the world better than I found it. What am I going to be remembered for? And the key, ladies, if you remember those three things, none of them are physical. And I'm all about taking care of yourself. But if you are feminine, if you are agreeable, if you are a support system, that never ages. So that's a way that you can win even 10, 20, 30 years down the line. You can have his heart because you've made yourself so irreplaceable, because beauty fades for all of us.
Related to this, and this is great because I feel like when ladies like you, Anita, Taylor, are kind of trying to put the ladies on game and saying if you wanted to be seen a certain way, if you want a certain type of attention, and if you want a certain type of man to approach you and take you seriously, what's some of the red flags in men's eyes that ladies may not be aware of? And again, this is just freestyling. So what's some instant red flags that you'd imagine men that are traditional, want to be providers, want to be monogamous, want to build a life and legacy with a woman and family? What are instant, more often than not, red flags that these ladies may be unknowingly doing or exhibiting that would completely turn him off to wanting to see her or take her seriously?
I always pause when I'm asked to speak on behalf of men. So the disclaimer is I'm not a man. I have never had the male experience, but I can say what I've heard and what I have experienced, and we'll just flip those three things on their head. So I said, lead with your femininity. I want to give some tangible examples. I think there's a lot of behaviors that women do that they don't even know this is masculine. All right. Okay. I'll tell you, my man, Mr. President, he told me flat out, nothing about you needs to remind me of a dude. I was like, wow, okay. So how do you show up? Let's talk about the physical, right? Do you stand out? Do you look like a woman? Do you even put effort into your appearance? And we have the features that we have, but is there anything that is warm and welcoming about you? Are you the feminine? Can he see you as the feminine asset to his masculine brand? So some of those masculine things: being loud, being competitive, being vulgar, dropping bombs all over the place, being, kicking the door down and it's all about me. All of those things are masculine traits, whether you know it or not. You're not a boss, babe. You're just a barracuda. You're not helping yourself. It's true. Or as my man would say, you're just a battle axe. And so these are the things that women think falsely that's going to get attention on me, but it's going to get attention for the wrong reason. So they see you a mile away and they're like, here we go. Seen this one before. So that's not helping you being masculine. The second one I said, being agreeable. So if we flip that, some red flags, ladies, you don't always have to say what's on your mind. Am I telling you not to speak? No. But if we listen more than we speak, you don't always have to have the last word. You don't always have to contradict just because. You don't always have to give that one time at band camp, or I know somebody, or try to undermine his thought process. Sometimes just listening will do you some good. You might learn something. So one of the things that a lot of times women miss is men think long term. We are very good in the moment. Men are thinking, do I want to live with this for the next 5 years, 10 years, 30 years? So I see sometimes women, see what I mean? So I see sometimes women, they will, have that slick mouth, or they'll do something, or they'll act up in public, or drink too much at the company party, and they'll be saying, oh, it wasn't that bad. It was just one time, or it was just, I didn't do that much, or I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Well, it was to him because he's thinking, okay, this is who you are. So every time I have an idea, it's going to be a challenge with her. I got to go
Yeah.
12 rounds with her. I don't want to do that. So they'll cut their losses and then you'll be crying, well, he didn't give me a chance. He saw where this is going and he decided to exit stage left. And then the last one, so we talked about femininity and masculinity. We talked about being agreeable, having that heart of service. Ladies, that red flag could be just the lack of consideration. And again, to me, this happens in modern culture, but if you're invited out, do you just sit down and get the best of everything for yourself and you don't even care if anybody else is served? Do you, I mean, you all know I love to cook and pack plates for him, but do you even care? Did you eat today? You know, can I make you a sandwich? Is there any consideration? So some red flags is just, well, I want to do this and I want to go here and I want this. If there's that selfish streak in you and you just think somebody owes it to you, that could be another red flag that could make you be disqualified.
Nah, those are all really, really good. And you're dead on about the long-term perspective. Because men that are like more serious about their long-term plans, their goals, what they're trying to build in their legacy, if they see that you only have a short-term mindset, they're just going to see you as either a short-term fling or just a liability. They're just going to see you as a liability because he sees what's going to come. Every time he wants to do something, he wants to save, he wants to build, he wants to invest, you want to spend, you want to experience. And he's going to start to see like, I can't be battling the world and battling making this money and then battling to keep the money in the house. Because I think I mentioned it when I was doing my last interview about like it when I was meeting and talking with I believe Taylor Chandler, about how when we have this boat and it's like and it's a hole in it and you got your bucket and you're trying to get the water out, and then the person in there, instead of helping you, they're poking more holes in the boat. It's like, how are we ever gonna get anywhere? Some other stuff that I'd imagine you may co-sign on that's definitely huge red flags for guys is social media.
Yeah.
Social media. So I'm not gonna even go, you know what? Because this ain't my interview. Please tell the ladies from a social media standpoint, from your lens, based on what you've heard, what you have observed, how are a lot of modern day women approaching social media unknowingly hurting themselves in the dating/marriage market?
Oh, goodness. It's such a double-edged sword. And look, we all love technology. I'm not saying we need to go back in the Stone Age. I mean, we're all, on social media, most of us in some form. But I think social media should be a tool to help promote the good things about whatever you want people to know. Because let's face it, social media is what we want the world to know. We all have a life behind the scenes. I would say first, modesty. Ladies, your man doesn't want everybody to have access to you, even visually. So that's the first thing. Now, if you're a working girl and that's how you get clients, none of this applies to you anyway. But especially for the young women, if you think exposing more is going to get you attention, it will, but it'll be momentary attention from someone who wants to have his fun and then move on to someone serious. So, save some things for your man. Not everything is for public consumption. So that's an easy piece of low-hanging fruit. The other thing I see on social media, ladies, if it's just you, like if you go to your feed and you just scroll, and it's you like this, and it's you like this, and it's you like this, and it's just you, and you're not doing anything, that ties into, what we said about being selfless, because you're basically advertising, I focus on myself. And of course, I have pictures of myself and I have videos of myself, but I try to be very intentional. It's usually me teaching something, demonstrating a recipe. Of course, I go out and have fun. But even when I go out and have fun, here's me at the symphony or the opera, or trying to show other wholesome ways that you can enjoy life and do whatever works for you. But just be careful about it being all eyes on me. And then finally, for me, privacy. Ladies, I don't know what this is about going to the internet. I just got home from a date and let me tell you all about it. or putting people on blast or crying or crashing out or any of those things. Men, especially the type of men that we admire and respect, confidence is key, privacy is key, and discretion is key. You will never get the keys to the kingdom if you can't be trusted. And so, again, these are things that sometimes women say, well, when I'm with that man, or I wouldn't do this with you. No, that is your resume. That is your digital footprint. You are demonstrating what life is going to be like with you. And so he may look at that from afar and say, no, I'll pass. And you won't even have an opportunity. So I say, just pull all the way back. Everything isn't for public consumption.
Nah, this is really, really good stuff. And ladies, I think because they are getting attention,
Yeah.
and they are getting attention from men and women, and they're getting the likes, they're getting the comments, they're getting the DMs. Kevin Samuels has said it, other people have said it, like they're confusing sexual attention with relational intention.
Yep.
And I'll tell y'all a really good cheat code of how a lot of men already disqualify ladies, and especially men that are very serious and they know the caliber of woman. They absolutely do not want to get with a woman that they can perceive has been with too many people. You could say it's a high body count. It's the way she presents to give the impression that she's very highly overly sexual. One cheat code, ladies, this is a thing. And Miss Maggie was right with what she said and what I'm about to say. An easy disqualifying factor for us is if you're everywhere. In the club, you in Dubai, which apparently there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Dubai. If we're seeing that you're 22, 23 years old, and you're on a trip every month, 9 times out of 10, because everybody claims they're making 6 figures and most of y'all are not, and most of y'all don't have parents that's paying for all this stuff, our lenses, it's one of 2 reasons. It's either because you're being flown out by men, or you're being financially irresponsible. When we see that you're constantly out at expensive restaurants, you're constantly out sitting in all these expensive cars and none of them look like they're yours. If we see that you're on your new locations every single month, and then we ask what you do for a living, and you're like, "Oh, I'm a nurse, I'm a flight attendant." I'm like, maybe y'all think that men are a little dumber than we realize, but if you're not married, that means men are not dumb. That means they have you in the category of sex only for fun. So if you getting 5, 10, 20,000 people following you on social media, you got hundreds of men in your DMs, but you've been presenting the image that you a go around, get around girl, that you're constantly in spaces, in places, either and then there's never a picture with who you with, or we're going to start those are the connections we're going to start to make. And all of you who are the anomaly to the rule, ladies, where you legitimately are paying for yourself, you really are funding these trips. That happens. I've known people that do that. It still isn't going to be interpreted the same way. It's still going to be interpreted the same way. So be mindful of that about your digital footprint. So what Miss Maggie is saying is 100% true. 100% true. The locations are telling on y'all. So it's not just how you dress. It's not just about the twerking videos. It's not just about the different links for people to collect money and get you how much time they can get from you. It's also about just the digital footprint of what it is that you're saying you're doing. Because you have to realize, if I'm a guy that's serious and I'm trying to build, and you're traveling all the time, even if you're paying for it, I know at some point, if you try to do life with me, you're going to expect me to pay for it. And I'm like, if I'm only trying to go on a trip maybe once or twice a year, and you're going every month, you're going to feel like you have to downsize your relationship to be with me. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. And you're desensitized to all these trips and experiences, so it won't even hit the same when I come in and try to take you on them. So that's just the cheat code, ladies. And listen, y'all in the comments, feel free to let us know as we're talking if y'all think that we're on to something or if we're cooking. And Number two, make sure you like this video or like this video if you haven't, because there's a lot of people in the chat and I don't think everybody's liked the video yet. So make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe. And for sure, once this is over, make sure everybody that watches this, you go to Maggie's different platforms that she's going to announce at the end, and make sure that you subscribe, follow, and like her content and support her as well. So another question I've had for a bit, that I've been thinking about for a bit. Who's better at checking their own when it comes to men checking men and women checking women when it comes to like changing their behavior and holding them accountable, or even just kind of like putting a little shame in there? Who's better at doing that, you think?
Oh, that's kind of a low ball of almost painfully obvious question. To answer you directly, I would say the men, but I would actually say, yes, men check each other. And that was one of the clips that went viral. But I think another distinction is that the world checks men. Men don't have
why you said that?
Well, men don't have the do-over that we do as women. Men have an immediate consequence if it goes wrong. And men know that, and they learn that early. And I've seen that being a boy mom. Not only does the world forgive, it's very forgiving for us. There's all these programs and safety nets, and other women want to make excuses for bad behavior. Well, I understand, or, you don't know what everybody's going through. We have all of these excuses. That doesn't exist for men. So yes, men check each other more than women check women, but I think it's because the world checks the men very harshly.
Wow. And again, it is probably preaching to the choir at this point for everybody that's been on my content or my channel so far. I think I agree with you, but I think it's layered and it's twofold. I think on the one hand, I think men even hold each other accountable a lot of times by a lack of the more that men value like networking, building themselves, becoming better, they tend to try to surround themselves with men that's also doing the same. So when they kind of see you as like not doing anything with your life, not going anywhere, they kind of like grow distant and kind of move on from those men. They want to surround themselves with men that's actually doing something, kind of holding, really holding themselves personally accountable to grow, to change, to get better at things. And I think a lot of times men tell the truth about really harsh things through jokes, through humor. Like, well, man, you need to get your fat A up. Maybe we need to go. Like, that's a thing with men where we can kind of rib each other in hopes of kind of getting each other to higher levels or spaces. Like, men tend to kind of tell the truth with men that and again, men will tell men when they know the woman that he's dealing with is trouble. They don't hold it back. They don't worry about his feelings. They say, bro, she's known. She's now, if you're still going to do it, that's your choice. But I'm just letting you know, we know her, right? Like men will kind of do that with each other a lot of times. And with the ladies, like I've seen it split. I've seen women that will let each other know certain things, but I've also seen them kind of support and encourage like the worst stuff. And it's sticking on code. It's sticking to like the sisterhood. And I, for the life of me, I don't understand why it is that the sisterhood is always about sticking together when it's something wrong, when it's something bad going on. That's when we need to be silent. That's when we need not to comment. That's when we need not to make it known, girl, you're going in the wrong direction. I'm like, that's when she kind of needs it the most.
I don't know why we permit and promote bad behavior. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank here again because I married at 25 to my college boyfriend since I was 18. So when you've been in a relationship for a long time, like you said, we pull away from a lot of perpetually single women. Most of my friends were in relationships, so I don't even have purview to that constant carousel of dating. And let me tell you what happened this weekend. It's tiresome for those of us who are actually trying to build something.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a lot of expertise in that area of chaos, but you're not wrong. We do have a responsibility, and I feel a calling, a huge responsibility, like the late great Kevin Samuel said, That's why I booked a session with him. Where are the older women to teach the young? So I do feel a responsibility to the community to offer a perspective and say, hey, you don't have to go the same way everybody is going. And my man held my feet and all of our feet to the fire. And he said, look, until the good ones start speaking up, everybody can get it. I was like, oh my gosh. So if you want to, exactly. And that's where we are right now.
Y'all, if y'all are in the chat right now, if you haven't donated, feel free to donate $2, $3, something small that you can afford to support the channel and support the cause as we try to build this platform and get more and more guests on, get more and more equipment that I need, and be able to build this studio out to the way that I think me and the team could be very helpful and excited about. So if you haven't donated, feel free to click on the $ for those super chats. If you donate on the super chats, we will post and actually read your comments and or read your questions. So that is a way for us to kind of make sure that we identify any and every single super chat that we get. And if you don't want to do the super chats through YouTube, remember that you can donate through Cash App and PayPal as well. So thank you all for that have already donated in the past, and for those of you that are going to continue to do so. Another question that I have that I've been thinking about for some time is, what's the difference between, and it's related to the question I just asked about taking accountability and apologizing. Because I'm already realizing that a lot of men have already reported that they don't even receive apologies to begin with. But even if they do get the apology, is that holding oneself accountable, or are those one and the same, or is there some like noticeable differences between being held accountable or holding yourself accountable and simply apologizing?
They're not the same. And this is another video that went viral. They're similar, but they're not the same. So to me, and again, I'm not a scholar, but to me, an apology is saying the words. You know, Kevin Samuels used to say, when we say, I'm sorry, it's because we actually feel sorrow. So it really should come from a place of, you know, I'm hurt that I hurt you. You know, it's not my bad or, you know, my fault or, you know, whatever to dismiss it. A true apology has a weight to it because we feel the burden that we've placed on someone else. However, to me, taking accountability means that there is a consequence. There is an action that you caused. So there is maybe an equal or not equal reaction to that. So, you know, an example can be one of the ladies that I was coaching got a little promotion at work and started spending money unbeknownst to her husband, and he found out about it and it wasn't good. Now, look, this is their dynamic. Do whatever works for you. But I remember asking her, you know, why don't you respect your husband? And she said, oh, I do. And I said, no, doing things behind his back just because, oh, you know, I make more than him. How is that going to play out in the long run? So in that case, you know, when I gave her my perspective and she realized what she was doing and why it was wrong, she apologized to him, because that's breaking the trust. Whatever agreement they had, every marriage is different. That's breaking the trust. So you can say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't go out on these shopping sprees and hide my purchases. I'm sorry. Well, that's great that you're sorry. That's great that you feel bad. But what if the consequence is, okay, we're cutting up the credit card and we're going to go, you know, no purchases between now and the end of the year, or we're going to go cash only, or, you know, we need to have a weekly family meeting, whatever their solution is. The consequence is how you take accountability for what you've done. So that's why I say they're similar, but they're not the same. If you just say, I'm sorry, and then you go back and do whatever you were doing before, that's not an apology at all. Sometimes there's a consequence, sometimes there's not, but we have to understand when we cause pain or when we harm someone, we cannot be in a position to say, okay, well, you know, you should be good now. You know, I said, I'm sorry. No, whatever pain you inflicted, now you gotta take what's coming to you.
Wow. And so it's not just obviously the apology, but it's either change behavior and or a consequence that could potentially accompany the apology. And in that great example you used about hiding spending, that's very, very common. that I've been hearing and realizing, and even with talking with couples, it's an extremely common thing. It's so normalized to where it's like, I think a lot of women, they know that it's wrong, but they don't feel like it's wrong
Mhm.
because it's just kind of what, oh, he doesn't need to know, and he doesn't open the boxes, and they just open up the stuff and put it in their closet. A legitimate consequence for women who claim to say that they want to respect. And I didn't even realize what you just said, which is that is a form of disrespect.
Yeah.
You do not respect that man if you're taking resources out of the home, spending it on frivolous things that he doesn't know about. And when you add up and calculate how much it is at the end of each year, what could have been done with those things,
Mhm.
with that money? And I didn't even like, of course it's true, you're hiding things, you're being shady, but it really, at the end of the day, what you boiled it down to was like, why don't you respect him?
Exactly. And she was floored. She was like, "No, I do respect him." I said, "No, you don't." And
Mm-hmm.
it's not about the money. It's not about the shoes or the purse or look, I love a deal. It's on sale, all that is fine. But again, if you're thinking about how are we going to make this for the next 50, 60 years, it has to be, you have to respect your man. I learned that the hard way. Divorce taught me that you have to respect your man. You can go through a war together, but if you don't respect that man, it's just going to bubble up in other
Mm-hmm.
ways. And it's just, people can do whatever they want to in their relationship, but don't come crying
Yeah.
when the consequence hits and now you're wondering, you're trying to scramble and fix it.
Listen, y'all, don't let Amazon be the reason why y'all in divorce court. Don't let Amazon and Target and these Black Friday deals be Amazon Day, like Prime Day. Like, don't let that be the reason why you can't find or stay with a good man. Um because it's like, it's just that those secret purchases 99.9% of the time, unless it's a gift, is usually not worth it. It's usually not worth it. And if you have to keep doing this, it doesn't even satisfy you long term.
Right. We are just a consumer culture. I just want to say this because I
Mhm.
can hear the women howling at the moon. Look, whatever you work out in your marriage is what you all work out. I'm just saying she was doing something that she knew was wrong for her marriage. Some people have joint spending, some people have completely separate accounts, some people have
Mhm.
his, hers, and ours. I'm just saying, honoring what you all agree to in the beginning. And if you want to do something different, just ask. You have
Yeah.
to be able to communicate with your husband. Babe, I've had my eye on these shoes. What can we do? Whatever it is. I'm not saying that you need to suffer in silence. We're
Mhm.
not going to go the nuclear option on this. But again, it comes down to the disrespect because it's a shopping spree over here. It's a coffee date over here. It is a, accepting, you know, extending yourself with your family over here. It's anything that you all didn't agree to as a unit. And again,
Mhm.
this only applies if you want marriage or long term. If you just want to date, go do your own thing. That's why
Mhm.
you're single anyway.
So let me focus on some of the super chats. Walter Davis, thank you for the $2. Greatly appreciate it. If you have not clicked on the super chats or the dollar signs, I'm always recommending, if people want to donate $2, $3, what you can afford, always greatly appreciate it. If you're already a channel member, don't feel obligated or feel pressured to feel like you have to donate towards the channel because you're already supporting the channel. Thank you, Walter, for that. Shout out to the Geek Surgeon for the $2 as well. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure that y'all send this video to a couple different people, your friends, your girlfriends. I am telling you that as a man and as a woman, we're kind of putting y'all on game. Is the people who tend to be a little bit more serious about this stuff, these are the things that they're paying attention to. The women that get the outcomes they're looking for, they've already been made aware of this either by their upbringing, or they found people like they went to finishing school, or they met with people like Miss Maggie, Anita, Taylor Chandler, and others. They know something that perhaps you don't, and in fact, I would even argue we're now at a place where they're almost countercultural. When not almost, they are literally counter the culture of the thing that's leading towards less marriages, the lifestyles and ideologies that's pushing towards less successful relationships, much more discord between men and women. They're trying to let you know this is how you kind of get past that stuff. So thank you, Geek Surgeon, for the donation. Shout out to Danielle for the 199 as well. Thank you, brother James and Mrs. Maggie. Yes, yes, yes. Thank y'all again for the support. So feel free to donate and make sure that y'all like this stuff as well. How would a woman today stand out in an environment that's overly sexualized? It's pushed for them to be like very highly transactional with men. And it seems like the culture is like celebrating the worst, like ghetto ratchet behavior, like in people. How would a woman today try to stand out when she's got a lot of the sisterhood kind of pushing a lot of like the ratchet, toxic city girl lifestyle stuff? How would she stand out in your opinion?
See, that's another question where I'm drawing a little bit of a blank. And I understand, I grew up in a small town, immigrant family, nuclear family. So all I know is my upbringing. So I have to try and really put myself in a position, okay, well, Maggie, not everybody had that. But for me, it's not so much what you do, because sometimes women ask that question, okay, tell me what to do. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? A lot of times it's what we don't do. So for example, I don't have friends that are, living that type of city girl lifestyle. Even if I tried to befriend one of them, we would never really get along. I could be cordial, I could be pleasant to them, but I either intentionally or unintentionally don't attract or don't keep around people who are chaotic like that. My man won't tolerate it, but I don't even get a thrill from that. When I see that type of bad behavior, I always say you can learn what to do, but you can also learn what not to do from watching other people. And so I can see someone dressing inappropriately and they think they look great, and watch the other people around them, give them the eye. And I'm like, aha, okay, don't do that, Maggie. I think, how do you stand out for the right reason? We just have to say, right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't know why we got to blur the lines. Well, it's okay. No, it's not. It's foolishness. And I don't have any problem. Call me what you want to call me. I do not care. But I don't understand why we can't say that is not a good representation of us. And it's not all of us. We know that. I think it's some of the loudest of us. And I think it benefits other people to make us think all of us are like that, but we're not.
Nah, I agree with that for sure. Where can the women that are trying to live and stay away from a lot of the behaviors and lifestyles that you're warning them about, when they are the women that they're supposed to be, where are they to find the good men? Because that's the biggest complaint. Where's all the good men? And of course, we can reverse it as well when it comes to men. Where can they find these women? But like, where are these men and how can they find them?
Well, with respect, I would have to disagree that women aren't supposed to find men. That's actually very masculine to go out on the hunt. I think the question is, where can these women be found? And this is going to hurt, but ladies, if you feel invisible to these type of men, it's because they have seen something in you that disqualifies you.
You know what? Hold on a second. I can't tell you how often it is that, and I agree with you that it's really not about them trying to find him. It's that if they're around, if they're available, they've already seen enough to let them know you ain't the one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. Yeah. Keep going. Keep cooking. I'm sorry. Continue cooking.
No, it's fine. It's one of these things where, this modern culture where we started doing this thing where everybody's equal and you're just a person. No, there's a reason why I lead with masculinity and femininity. We are biologically wired very different. And when we blur those and say a man is whatever he wants to be and a woman is whatever she wants to be, it really discounts the hard wiring that we have. So with that, a man is hardwired to be on the hunt. Watch a man, any man that you know, when they're in a space, they're always scanning the room. And I tell the women in the finishing school, the reason why is we have developed as humans, men especially, have to be able to assess the risk at all times. If somebody's coming over the horizon, is that friend and foe, friend or foe? Do I get the whip? Do I get the weapon? Send the women and the children off to safety? And do I need to fight to the death? Or is this, a traitor or somebody that could be useful to me? So men are always scanning, men are always hunting. And ladies, when you stand up for the right reasons, it's not long before men are like, she got a man? Is she spoken for? Whose girl is that? That's just how men are.
Yes.
So you don't really have to do anything to get their attention. Of course, be pleasant, speak, make eye contact, all of the cordial things that we talk about. But I hate to say it, but the good ones, we don't stay single for long. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but I think, again, it's so out of order where women think I can do whatever I want to do for as long as I want to do it. And when I see him, oh yeah, let me get all cleaned up and prettied up and, lower my voice. And now he's really, he hasn't seen the likes of me yet. It's too late. He's already seen you. Because the other thing women misunderstand about men don't just run in head first. As women, we are impulsive, we are chaotic, we are emotional. If we feel it, we're going to act on it. If we think it, we're going to say it. Men have learned that type of action could cost them their life.
Yes.
So they don't move like that. So men always wait and observe, and they are watching for consistency. So if you think you're going to do it, as my man says, one time in a row and knock his socks off, you're wrong. You haven't even started to take the test. He's going to watch for a while and see how you continually show up. So, of course, yes, you can make yourself attractive and, all those things. But I don't think the women that show up as really relationship ready and are all those three things, of course, take care of yourself, but are feminine, agreeable, and supportive, men snatch them up because they are rare. So I say, don't go hunting for men. Of course, tell your network, let people know that, you're single and don't want to be, but you got to get over your ego and your pride and realize men do the asking.
Yeah.
So they're the ones looking.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. And ladies, you got to think about it. If you're not getting the outcomes you want and your girlfriends are co-signing everything and saying, you go girl, and I love that outfit and this and that, they're not really your friends. They're not really your friends. Steve Harvey, he had came up with the book Think Like a Man. And although I didn't read it, that concept of you spend so much time being influenced by all these other women who don't even have the outcomes you want. It's the men that have the ring. It's the men that you actually want to be in a relationship with and want to have children with. And you're focused on what your girlfriends are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
you don't want to marry those girlfriends. So to get some tangible advice, again, I promote, I will say, young marriage. I don't think it's young. I mean, at 25, I felt like I beat the buzzer because I didn't want to be close to 30. You all are good and grown doing whatever you want to do. But in those first few years out of high school and college, Kevin Samuel said that is the time when you are going to be in the most proximity of the type of men that you're going to want. A lot of times women wait until that man has achieved. It's too late. Yeah. I'm with the man that I'm with because he knew me young. He had the best of me young, and now we can sail off into the sunset. But those first few jobs, those first few, whether it's school or those hobbies that you have, that young energy that you have should be helping you seal the deal and then going off and building a life. Once you get into your 30s and 40s and almost 50s, life kind of comes routine and it's harder. Is it impossible? No, but you're going to have to go to those, conferences and events and networking things and talk to people. You're going to have to be more proactive, where honestly, for me, it's, hi, I'm Margaret. want to study together, or, at work, somebody's like, does she have a boyfriend? Or coming up to me, you got a boyfriend? And the rest is history.
Wow. Yeah. And so let's flip it. If men are the pursuers, and we are, and men are supposed to find a wife, which is a good thing, the men are complaining and stating that the quality and the percentage of women that actually fit what you're talking about is a lot rarer than I think a lot of people may realize.
Yeah.
So where is it here? Is it abroad? Where should men go to find women that actually want and appreciate and would actually reciprocate all these acts of service and this femininity and this softness? Like, where are these ladies? Because most of the women that a lot of the guys I've talked to and what I've seen on the manosphere and social media, they're all claiming like marriage is almost completely off the table. Most of most of the women they're encountering, a lot of them is some degree of primarily transactional. They talking about the things you're talking about is like red flags for in many of these women's eyes and ears. So like, where can they find these women?
Okay, so again, I'll say I always hesitate when I'm asked to speak for men, but I have heard things. Let me just say this as a premise. Wives are rare. Husbands are rare. There are a lot of women. There are not a lot of wives. There are a lot of men. There are not a lot of husbands. So yes, I understand where do they find each other?
Hold on. Because what you just did, the people been talking about, you've been spitting bars tonight. You've been cooking. Hold on. Do y'all hear what she just said? There's a lot of women, but there's few wives. There's a lot of men, but there's few husbands. So now you're going to hopefully give us the key on where are the people who are marriage minded, wife minded, husband minded. How do they find each other?
Oh, goodness. I mean, I know nobody likes this answer. They're everywhere. Okay, that's a little too easy. But I do think like attracts like, and you are drawn to people who seem to be sharing the same values and life goals as you. Now, I will say this, with respect, and I always say I'm happily average, but I have heard from other men that if men pursue solely on beauty or the Instagram model or whatever they think is attractive to them, that can be the ticket into the door, but you still have to put her through the test to see if there's substance there. Yeah. I appreciate beauty just like anybody else. If you're a knockout, be a knockout, but also be a good woman too. I think I have heard that sometimes men will put a little bit too much emphasis on the looks and let beautiful women get away with bad behavior. And then it just perpetuates this problem that we have. I say the men should go wherever they can get what it is they're looking for, because men are the buyers when it comes to relationships. And, of course, I do prefer and want to support and do everything I can to help the community. My man mentioned the other day, he said, babe, our parents were the ones to have 3 and 4 kids. Mm-hmm. Our generation, we were having 2 and 3 kids.
Wow.
Now people are having 1, maybe. So many people are now talking about, I don't want any kids. Mm-hmm. So if you think 50 years from now, what does our community look like? So that's what I think about. Having said that, I do not expect any man to suffer. And I say this as a boy mom. And I've told the boys, you have to go out there and get it. You have to build yourself. The boys live with their father, my ex-husband, since they've been in high school because I can't raise a man. Mm-hmm. But you have to go earn it. But once you do, your woman, I don't care what she looks like, 2 things. She needs to come from a good family and she must respect you. Anything else we can work with. So I think men should go wherever they are respected. Hopefully it's here. But if it's not, sometimes life has to humble us if we won't humble ourselves. I do think it will get better. I think it will get worse before it gets better. And it doesn't give me any joy to know that a lot of women in my age group, or maybe even younger, are going to die alone.
Oh,
And I'm sad to say that. But hopefully, and that's why I'm here as the older women to teach the young, that doesn't have to be you.
wow, wow. It's I agree with you. I think, and the issue is that the dating slash relationship slash marriage market, it's not the same for men and women in both ends of the spectrum. When women are younger, they got all these options, they get all these potential suitors, they're getting all this attention. And then as guys clear that 30 plus age range, if they've been like the instructions you're telling your son, if they've been building themselves, if they've been preparing themselves to be able to ready for a wife, they've been building their finances and getting themselves in order. The options are out there. And then it's a matter of the pool of women that is around me or who I'm interacting with. Do they have the mindset of a wife? And I think I posted or shared a lot of the comments of what people were saying. A lot of the guys are now saying that they're dating out. They're just figuring out how to get their careers in order so that they can just date from women overseas, date from women from more traditional backgrounds, from good families, and they're realizing like in an environment here where so many people came from broken homes, and the masculinity component that was supposed to influence how she grew up, and if that's missing, it's like you're making up for not only what the father that she didn't have or the father she didn't listen to didn't do or wasn't able to do. Now you have to make up for what she's been doing as an adult all this time, and then trying to instill these things so that we can do life together. A lot of guys will be like, this is just too much work. I think it's just easier for me to just start with a woman who's already been raised and shown
Absolutely.
how to do it, like versus feeling like I have to constantly check the disrespect. I have to constantly check you about challenging every opinion that I have. I have to constantly check you about sharing too much information when we're out in public with people and putting too much on social media, sharing too much, showing too much.
Right.
It like the guys are saying now, if she has no social media, that's like a green flag. If she's got 3 pictures on social media, that's a unicorn now, which sounds crazy.
No, you're right. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is we women think it's going to happen on our timeline. So again, because men do the asking, we have to be ready when the man is ready, not when we're good and ready, not when we're tired of having whatever kind of experiences with everybody that we knew it wasn't going anywhere. And now we want the best cream of the crop. And what I know now as a boy mom is it takes men so much longer to be able to take on the responsibility of a woman and a family and everything that comes with it. And men are willing to do that. They want that family. And I would never ask a man to say, no, 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 you need to wait on us to get it together. No, if you have an offer, that's why it's called a proposal. If you can propose marriage or life partnership or whatever you all are doing, to a woman, and you say, this is what I can do for you, this is what I'm asking in return, do you accept? Find somebody that'll work with you and go live your life. There's no reason that you need to wait for someone who, maybe by no fault of their own or because of all the mistakes they've made, now thinks that they should have first choice. I'm sorry, ladies,
Yeah.
our actions have consequences. And, I will say this, one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's just going to happen. I hear this with women sometimes. You don't fall into, a real relationship that is make believe, turn off the TV. It's not going to happen that way. The opposite from what you are watching on TV is what happens. The
Mhm.
movies will show you this passionate romance, and then they go off and live happily ever after. That is not true. Men that are serious will approach you seriously. Women that are serious will ask serious questions.
Mhm.
Once you establish, you know what, I think we have something here, all the fun stuff will come. All the good stuff will come. The trips and all that stuff, delayed gratification. I said in my early years of marriage, our vacations were to Six Flags. Now that I'm almost half 100, I can do some international travel. But when you're in the building years, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be building, and that's where the sacrifice is made. Then you appreciate it later. So
Mhm.
you have to think about the end in mind. You have to make decisions now about the life that you want to have when you're my age. And you can
Mhm.
either sail into your golden years or you can suffer, and the world will let you suffer.
I appreciate that. AJ has stated this is the first time in history where 50-year-old women are competing with the same men as 20-year-old women. And ladies, not only is what AJ is saying is true, and I'm seeing Miss Maggie nodding her head to saying this is crazy that this is even a real thing. Ladies, you can't automatically assume and equate wisdom and good intentions because the woman that you're asking advice from is older than you.
Right.
She could potentially see you as competition. So
That
be mindful of that, that you got to be careful. And one of the clear-cut ways is if she 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 always supports all your moves and actions, even when you know some of the decisions and moves and reactions you had were wrong. If she never tells you to apologize, if she never tells you to look at it from his lens, that's a clear sign that she's probably telling you everything you want to hear. That's not helping you.
I
Whether y'all
don't
whether y'all realize it or not, the pool of competition now is going way beyond the women that's in your age bracket. You got women 10, 20 years older than you, and y'all all want the 30, 35, 40-year-old guy.
That is so disturbing. It's beyond disturbing. And, my expectation of women my age, it's not just supposed to be me and, Lucy, or, I'm supposed to carry the banner.
Mhm.
When I say the older women teach the young, if the 50-year-olds can teach the 40-year-olds, and the 40-year-olds can teach the 30-year-olds, and the 30-year-olds can teach the 20-year-olds, or 20-year-olds can get to the young ones.
Yeah.
It is so, I don't even know the word. Like, I would be so embarrassed to be out here thinking that I could compete with a woman who has all of her youth and all of her fertility and all of that energy still with her. My ship has sailed. I had my time. I had my big church wedding. I had, my children. I've lived my life. Now I'm at a phase where I need to be either going off and living my life and letting the young people be young, or trying to make it better and helping where I can. You don't have unlimited do-overs. That doesn't
Mhm.
make sense to me. And the men are laughing at you. Don't let these celebrity older women who have enough money that they can buy young bodies have you older women thinking that you can compete. They will have their fun with you, practice on you, and then go build a family with someone that is a real candidate. And then you just find yourself going through heartbreak at my age. No.
Mhm.
If you didn't choose wisely, accept that you didn't choose wisely and make the best life that you can. I don't feel, if the worst happened, I would be grateful for what I had and I would do better. And, if I were so fortunate to have another chance at love, I would be so grateful for that. But to
Mhm.
go out and intentionally try to compete with someone 30 years my junior, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's disgusting.
Wow. Wow. It's true. It's true that they're aiming for the same pool of men, and it's sad. It's sad to see, for sure. So I want to wrap things up because I've already held you well over an hour. So y'all, if y'all are in this watching this clip, and if you haven't shared it, make sure you share this stream with your friends, your family, your girlfriends. Anybody that's single probably needs to listen to this, men and women. Miss Maggie, I appreciate that you've been, even the things that I'm asking from a male perspective, I think you've been hitting it. I think you've been hitting home, because a lot of the things you've been saying, when a man says it, sometimes they like, oh, you're sexist, or it's just that man. No, the majority of men that you all are even attracted to and want and have standards, a lot of what you said tonight is literally how men like think and see these situations. And the thing is, men just oftentimes don't say it out loud because they're like, well, I'm not going to argue or debate about my preference. I'm just going to categorize you in my head with whether or not you're showing me these traits that make me see like, I could potentially invest in this in this situation with a long-term future, recreational or absolutely off limits. That's how men just operate. And we make very, very quick snap judgments. When we give the 30, 60, 90 day, 6-month trial run, that's usually about to the degree of how much we believe you can be what we're looking for. But if we've made a decision, we'll make the decision very, very early if we know that we're never going to marry you. That's a very easy move for us. You just may not ever know it.
Yes, and I've told women you have to be very careful about that, because if you think you have the upper hand, a man can make that decision that this is just temporary and still entertain you, still spend money on you, still fly you out or whatever they're doing now, I don't know, knowing good and well the whole time this isn't going anywhere. And meanwhile, you're like, ooh, he called me back, or ooh, he called me over, and you are just time spent. And I'll say that, respectfully. I will say thank you for the compliment, but I have to give respect to my man, and he's the reason why. And the sponsors on my channel, the men that I admire and respect, who have coached me in a way too, for the male perspective that I have not lived, but my own lived experience, just in case your audience doesn't know where I'm coming from. I have fallen down and bumped my head and skinned my knee. I was raised to be a wife, but I think college and corporate America, big job, big bonuses, big degrees, I started thinking that really married. And I did marry, that really mattered. And I did marry my college boyfriend. I married at 25, loved being married, had 2 sons from the marriage, but I didn't keep the main thing. And I thought everything would just kind of fall into place. And that marriage ended in divorce. I remember he came home and I was barking orders and he was like, I don't work for you. And I had no idea I had become that masculine. I had become that disagreeable. I had become all of that. So I just want to, humbly share that I've been that woman. And so the marriage ended in divorce, and life brought me back to someone that I grew up with, that I wanted when we were young, but he needed to live his life. And he sat me down on the second date and told me exactly what his expectations were, what his timeline was, and what he was going to do for me. And I realized then, oh yeah, he's not going to put up with any of my foolishness. And that is when I made the decision, I don't want to bump my head a second time. Lightning doesn't usually strike twice. So I enrolled myself in finishing school and really started working on how to work with a man of a certain caliber, and how to be a support system and show respect and all the things that I talked about in the beginning. And I found out I'm so much more happy and calm. And, I still work, but in a way that work is what I do. It's not who I am. So I just wanted to offer that encouragement. It's not impossible. It is harder, but you have to be intentional, ladies. Every day, every conversation, every date, think about, is this helping me get towards my goals?
Every meal, every conversation with your girlfriends. Listen, y'all, he is spitting hot fire. Listen, let me do like, I just know when I go back and clip this up, I already know some stuff is about to go all over the place with some of the stuff that you've said tonight. I appreciate your vulnerability and your transparency, because I think that it's helpful in an environment where a lot of people are so big on wanting to be an influencer and speaking over other people's lives and speaking over other people's relationships. And nobody knows that the type of situations they're involved in is absolutely the worst type of relationships, if they're even in one, that people would even want to be in, and then they're telling everybody else what to do. I appreciate the fact that you're like, listen, I've gotten it wrong. I believe that I've learned from my mistakes, and the piece that you said that stuck out to me, that probably changed your whole mindset, was you said that when he sat you down after that second date, he told you what he wanted, what his intentions were, and what his plan was. Fellas, it's going to sound crazy, but a huge reason for why so many of us end up in the situations we're in and we tolerate so much of what we do and we feel abused is because you start things off with there's a pedestal and you're putting her at the top. And you're spending an awful lot of time versus treating her as we're here with each other and we need to see if this makes sense. You're chasing. You're like we're naturally going to chase to a degree, but you're elevating her to a degree where she's so pretty, you're so attracted, you're so smitten by the sex and the good looks and the shape of her body that you're ignoring all these red flags. And now what happens with a lot of the men is she starts doing the, well, what are we? When are we? When are you going to? These are things that she really shouldn't have to ask too much about because you've been communicating it up front what the expectations are. Yeah. So when you don't be a dictator, don't be cruel. But if you I would argue that the way in which ladies today can stand out, where they just have to do the exact opposite of what the culture and what the city girl lifestyle, no, just do the opposite of that, and you're probably going to stand out in most men's eyes. As a man, when you don't beg and grovel and elevate her to the degree whether you're willing to tolerate disrespect, tolerate attitude, tolerate a lot her ghosting you and her being real flaky and not showing interest in you, make it known what your intentions are, what you're looking for, what you want, and what's the plan going to be, and hold her to that. Hold yourself to that, but hold her to that. You're going to start to see the women in your life that after 1 or 2 dates, they're going to realize very quickly, oh, I can't talk to him anymore, or I can't see him anymore if I don't move past all this stuff that I brought in my previous situations and previous relationships. I can't act the same way with him because he has actual standards. The other guys, they were just lucky to have me. Now I'm realizing maybe it's a guy that's actually pretty valuable and maybe I need to get on his program. They're not going to think that way if you don't set the tone. So I appreciate the fact that you kind of shared that. And it seems like that was something that was very helpful for you to start thinking differently about how to approach the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't even really think it was anything intentional. That's just who he is. A leader is a leader. And so again, with respect, I never tell men what to do, but going back to that first point, femininity and masculinity, we women are drawn to leaders. When a man comes in the room and starts saying what's going to happen and this is the plan, like you just respond to that. Even if you don't want to, we are drawn to that. Again, that's who we are as women. And so I recognized that and I was like, wow, okay, all that other stuff isn't going to fly. And I saw the question from Cauliflower. Why did I treat my ex-husband like that? I think, like I said, the modern world, I have to take responsibility for it. Bad behavior is bad behavior. Thinking that your big job and big degree and all of that is going to matter. But I think that, yes, the modern world, but we get away with bad behavior and men let us. Some men let us. My man told me, I'm going to tell you one time in a row and let you figure it out. And I was like, who is he talking to? I
can't even do that. I can't even do that. I ain't gonna have no meal upstairs.
Who is he talking to? But I learned really quickly. And, I'll say this, ladies, all of us are going to meet that one. We are going to have an experience with that one. But how you respond in that moment can change the trajectory of your life. So many women have regret because somebody was serious with them, but they didn't take it seriously. They brought that bad behavior and all that game playing into conversation or relationship with a man who was serious. And then, like I said, he'll just move on to somebody who is. That is why, again, we have to be ready when they're ready, if that's what you want. So really think about it from this moment on. Everything that you do should be getting you towards your goals. And, I hear this sometimes and women, especially older women, sometimes will say, oh, what's the rush? You got all the time in the world. Go live your life. I disagree. And I was thinking about it one day. I was like, you know what? That goes counter to everything that we tell people. If we want you to be fit in your later years, what do we say? Start exercising and start eating right when you're what? Young.
Yeah.
If we say we want you to have money and be financially free when you're in your later years, what do we tell young people?
Start
Start
saving and
saving now,
investing.
start investing now. So
Yeah.
somebody tell me why that doesn't apply to your life mate, your husband, your wife, your relationship goals. Why do you think you can spend 30, 40, however many years doing whatever you want to do, and then at the witching hour, now somebody's going to take you seriously? It doesn't work that way. So I still implore,
Mhm.
especially young women, if this is what you want, take it seriously. You are good and grown, you are an adult, you can have all that fun with your husband. Believe me, the 30-year-olds that I coach tell me, I wish I had done this in my 20s. So if I know they're feeling that way, don't let another moment pass you by.
M- My team is going to be sick of me and you with this whole interview because they're going to be clipping this up. Chat team admins, y'all know we got some work to do. So a couple things real quick, and then we're going to wrap things up so
Yeah.
that Miss Maggie can let everybody know where they can find and support her. Again, if you are watching this currently, you have not liked this video, please make sure you do. It helps with the algorithm and puts it on more people's phones and devices so that they can see it. All that I ask is that if you're watching this, send it to 2 people, a friend, a family member, a coworker, or the person you're in a relationship with or currently dating. But for Maggie, not dating, intentionally moving towards marriage, send it to 2 people. If you're one of those people that downloads this stuff and takes the clips and makes it what it is, it's yours. Feel free to have it. Just feel free to tag me and Miss Maggie on it. If you post it on Instagram, if you post it on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere else. I tell people all the time, feel free to take this stuff and make it what you will. Clip it, edit it, add graphics, add captions if you like. Just make sure that you tag us so that I can make sure to start shouting folks out. Make sure y'all get the merchandise if you haven't. Smaggy, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and support you, and more specifically, like what's the specific endeavors that you're currently offering to the public?
Oh, goodness. Well, first, let me say thank you so much for having me, Jeff St. James and Ask a Brother podcast. I know you've been reaching out for a while, and it was actually my man who was like, let me study him for a while, and then gave me the green light to be here. So this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much to the chat for all of your support. So I am Maggie. My name is Margaret, but Maggie is my childhood nickname. So you can find me on all platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and X. I still call it Twitter, at Maggie the Substitute Teacher. It is the same name on all platforms. And that's because I still say I have a cooking channel. All right. So I cook with sugar substitutes, dairy substitutes, and gluten substitutes. But people keep asking me about a relationship, so I keep talking about it. So my cooking content is Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. I do a live stream. And then my relationship content with Lucy is Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. My website is teachablemoments.withmaggie.com. I update it from time to time. It's just a link tree. We are currently running the finishing school for the modern woman, which is our 8-week finishing school for ladies of all ages. If you want to be more feminine, if you want to learn about good etiquette and lead with elegance, those things that never age, we only teach it twice a year. So registration is closed right now because we are currently in class, but stay tuned. We usually have, no promises, excuse me, we usually have a Black Friday special. So we teach on Zoom, and then we bring the ladies to Atlanta because we have very generous sponsors, and let them put it into practice with a wonderful graduation weekend. So, yeah.
8-week finishing school. So just for the audience and people that may have never heard of what a finishing school, can you describe a little bit about what that exactly is for those who have heard of it?
This is my favorite topic. So back in the past, we had, and we still have, the haves and the have-nots, but you have royalty, and then you have the working class, like all of us. So when the industrial age happened and people came up on money, whether it was inventions or investments or, better paying jobs, they were able to social climb. They were able to move into different arenas, if you will, but didn't necessarily have the home training, the soft skills that people of royalty were just raised that way. Maybe they had a governess or anything. So don't think, anybody's better than anybody else. You were either taught it or you won't. And again, I think the modern world, we just move so fast and everything is so crass and loud and crude.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, ladies, the number one thing that men notice in us, of course, after the physical, and you're attracted to what you're attracted to. Everything isn't for everybody, but it is your femininity. And I think those soft skills have really taken a turn for the worse. And so I've enrolled in finishing school. It's just a way that the history of it, when women would become of age, they would go to finishing school to learn how to have those social graces, how to be a good support system to their husband. Of course, some of the basics, hosting a dinner party and all of that. But I really believe it still has value in today's culture, whether you have relationship goals or whether it is a date or an investor meeting or, meeting the in-laws. You want to make sure that when you're in and amongst other people, you stand out for the right reason. So we talk about those social graces, of course, dining, but business etiquette, international etiquette. We talk about emotional intelligence, how to keep our emotions in check. Yes, we are women, but we don't need to be waterworks crying all the time. But it's 8 weeks. We send a workbook out, and it's really a rewiring of what the men that we admire and respect have told us is missing in modern women. Because Lucy and I run our curriculum by my man and our sponsors. And I say, this is what we want to cover. And they say, add this, Maggie. Women don't know how to talk to men. Add communication, add this. And so we create a safe space and a sanctuary for women to kind of be stripped down and built back up and go back out into the world. So I love it. It's
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think it's awesome. I think, believe it or not, I think men need our own version of that to come back. And of course, if you weren't lucky enough to go to Jack and Jill, you grow up and it's kind of trial by error. And usually the guys who start to get it, it's those who kind of amass a certain amount of wealth. They work themselves into being in certain circles and they kind of learn like that way. But I think it's something that absolutely is needed and important for sure. And your voice definitely matters. And I think I think my audience is agreeing there's a reason for why you went viral so many times, because you're not coming from a place that I think it's extremely negative, pessimistic, or even vindictive with what you're saying. You're saying, I genuinely care, and I'm letting y'all know this is how a lot of men think. I've ran it by men. I'm telling you, this is what the men is saying is missing. And if you just do these things, and if you get better and sharpen yourself with these tools, you're going to stand out by all the women that don't know the game, don't know the cues, and don't know that the woman who's great at what you just talked about, you can take her anywhere, any setting, any place, anytime. She's going to know how to be a great representation of you. So whether she's on a podcast and she's talking about the relationship, or if she's hanging out with you and friends at a dinner party, or she's meeting your coworkers, even if you walk away, you don't have to worry about coming back and everybody looking at you crazy.
Absolutely. Every man is looking for his first lady, whatever his job is. Every man wants the feminine asset to his masculine brand. And, I would just say, since you talked about influencers, like I say, I'm just a mom on the internet. I'm here until I'm not. People ask, and so I answer. I really would just be fine in the kitchen with my apron on. But, especially for young women who maybe don't have the home training, I always say, consider the source. So be very careful. If your girlfriends or mothers or aunties or people on the internet are telling you, girl, you need to do this, look at their life and ask yourself, would I trade places with them? Do they have what I want? And if they do, that's fine. But be very careful just because someone can shine it up. That's why I always say what I've done right and what I've done wrong, because I think we can learn from both. But if they don't have long-term marriage or relationship experience. If it's always somebody new coming through and they're telling you what you need to do, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to end up a carbon copy of them. So just be very careful about that. If you want to be married, find the women that are married in relationships that you admire and say, you know what? I seem to be starting over time and time again. Can I buy you a cup of coffee and maybe, get some advice from you or whatever it is? But again, it takes you to humble yourself and realize, I don't know everything. Maybe I could learn something.
And I'll just read this last two comments and then we're good to go.
Okay.
Couture Leotard says, "This makes me miss my mom so much. It used to be your mom teaching you all the things to take care of the family, the behavior, grandma's recipes, the parties, and all of it."
There you go.
Yeah, when I'm realizing this, when the grandmoms is 32, it's kind of hard.
That's crazy.
It's
That's
not,
true.
it's hard. It's hard to get this, and I think, and I'm sure you've heard something like this. People probably see you as like their auntie, that like that family member, that family member that they would normally get this wisdom from. You're like, for a lot of people, the auntie, the mom, that just happens to be virtual. So I listen. I appreciate you. I thank you, and everybody on your team that said this was a good idea, this was a good move. Everybody been saying you cooking tonight.
Oh, thank
I
you for saying that.
yeah, it was great. I genuinely enjoyed it. If and again, you said that the people trying to sign up for finishing school right now, it's closed.
Yeah, we teach it a
But
couple times a
yeah,
year. It'll open again soon. I just
okay.
want to say, um, I am my mother's daughter. My mom
Mm,
is a retired home economics teacher. And if you remember when we started, one of the first things I said is, I don't see why anything I do is that earth shattering or why I've gone viral, because it's just common sense. Because we did used to have this. This used to just be how we were raised. And if I can do my part to get us back to a little bit of that, I think relationships will be better, which will mean families will be better, which means our community will be better, which means society will be better. And that's why I'm here.
One Cool K, thank you for the 4.99. You are both wearing the heck out of your chef hats tonight, serving up some rare wisdom steak. I love it. Thank you, everybody. There was a lot of engagement. There was a lot of comments tonight. Please, 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 if you don't do nothing else, like the video, share it with two people, go to Maggie the Substitutes on all the platforms that you platforms that you're on. If it's on, what do you say, TikTok, Instagram,
Facebook,
Facebook,
YouTube,
and YouTube.
everything.
Make sure y'all follow. Make sure y'all subscribe. And if y'all gonna comment, make sure that you say that Ask a Brother sent you. All right, y'all. Please, 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 again, give a warm, warm welcome. Actually, a warm, warm thank you and goodbye to Miss Maggie the Substitute. Thank y'all.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, good night.
Mm.
I gotta I gotta say, y'all, I really enjoyed that conversation. To be fair, I've enjoyed all my interviews. I find that I'm getting better at the people I'm like how I'm selecting people. Because I want it to be a conversation that I actually get something from it. I actually hear something meaningful that I can take with me as well. And it's cool. And I hope that for all of you men and women that y'all genuinely thought this was a good episode. This is the type of stuff and that I care about. Like, I really, really want to see things like turn around. I know we're in an environment where everybody says things are so bad, it's not going to get any better, and it's possible that what Miss Maggie said and what others have said is like it's just going to only get worse from here for a lot of people. But I also believe it's going to get better for a lot of people when they watch stuff like this, when they put the work in on reading and meeting with therapists, and not just going to meet with a therapist just to talk and yap, but like actually to find out what is it that I'm doing wrong that I need to radically change. The lady's doing cooking school, she's doing finishing school. I'm telling you, ladies, the return on investment, if you do something like that, you're going to stand out in a market where women say cooking for a man is slavery, where being feminine is oppressive, where being led by a man is paid. Listen, I'm just telling you, y'all, that she's killing it. She All the people that I'm bringing on, like if y'all just, you're seeing This is literally the cheat code. These are the answers to the test. So listen, y'all, I hope that y'all really enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't liked it after the 5th time I've said it, make sure you like this make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Feel free to become a member if you want to be notified about different things that's going to pop up periodically, especially for the members. We got the men's group on Tuesdays. The links are all in the description. I think this the pinned comment is here. I believe it's the link for group and it's the link for our store or merchandise like this. We have the hats so far. We have it's fall season now, so we got the sweatshirts, we got the hoodies, we got mugs. We're going to be coming out with more and more stuff between now and Christmas. So get it, because we actually are going to be swapping these things out. We're not going to leave this stuff up for long. So we're going to constantly be these hats. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing right now, where I'm periodically going to wear it. Some of my future guests are probably going to be wearing some of this stuff. And then this stuff will be gone. And I'll have to make a decision with the team of whether or not we're going to have it seasonal or once a year. Because the goal is we want to just have try different things as far as like the fashion. So listen, y'all, thank y'all for the sharing another evening with your boy. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: Monday, your boy is going to have listen, next week and the following week, I'm gonna have back-to-back guests. And I'm telling you right now, when I put the stuff up, set up your notification bell. You are not going to want to miss it. These individuals, listen, I'm not even going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. Y'all are going to genuinely love it. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for supporting. Thank you for listen. It seems like everybody really, really liked what it was. And again, if you're one of those people that likes to clip this stuff up, clip it up, cut it up, share it. Just feel free to tag myself and Miss Maggie the Substitute as well. I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure y'all get the hats. At minimum, get the hat. Get the hat. Thank y'all. So listen, enjoy y'all evening. I'm tired. I'm about to go eat. And stay tuned, because I'm about to release y'all. The people voted, and y'all let me know between becoming a master communicator or the truth about Obama. The people have spoken. The next episode, original content that's going to come out, is the truth about Barack Obama, as well as following soon after that, how to become a master communicator. So stay tuned. Both of those will be coming very, very soon. Listen, y'all, have a good night. Share this video with a couple people you love and genuinely care about. And deuces. Godson out. Peace.